Well, howdy everybody. I wanted to talk just a minute about winter preps. So in the cattle business, you got to be a prepper if you're in an area where you need to supplement your cattle during the winter. In our part of Texas, Bahia grass and most of the Bermuda grasses don't stockpile real well. Um, they'll do a little, you can stockpile them a little bit, but they're not great. So I wanted to visit with you about my winter preps. As you just saw in a previous video that I uploaded, I planted some Elbon rye, and you can see this Elbon's coming up pretty good. So this is a 30-acre pasture. You can see how the no-till drill put that Elbon down, and we've got some range just right to get this stuff up. It's not coming up great for where the grass is pretty tall, but it's starting to peek through. And unfortunately, right through here, we've driven back and forth to deliver hay. But I've done two things to try to maximize my ability to feed these cattle through the winter time. And that is put out winter pasture, which is this Elbon rye. And we just fertilized it last week with some nitrogen, and it ought to really blossom now. We got just a little over 3/10 of an inch of rain on it the day after we fertilized. And then I've got, as you can see, quite a bit of hay. I've got 345 rolls put up, and this stuff is a premium this year from the perspective of the drought, and nobody made much hay through the summer or any hay. I actually got really nervous about mid-August, and I bought some Milo stubble, and it doesn't have much nutritional value, but it'll keep them full if we didn't have anything else. And thankfully, my hay producer got range just right when it started to rain in August, and I was able to secure the hay I need. And I'm going to talk to you just a second about pricing. In my zeal to have some hay, assuming that I was going to not have any or very limited supply, I bought this Milo stubble, and you can see a bale here. I had it tested for nitrates to make sure that the cattle, when they ate it, wouldn't get nitrate poisoning, which will kill them. And it was way under the acceptable range, so they should be able to eat that and survive just fine. I think I got 28 rolls of the Milo stubble, and a little bit embarrassed to say, but being truthful, I gave $100 a roll for that Milo stubble. And then I put up about 100 rolls of hay at the hay pasture by the clinic, a little 11-acre hay trap, and then a neighbor up the road lets me cut a 5-acre pasture that she has. And combined, I put up about 100 rolls, and then I was able to buy an additional 228 rolls. And the hay that I purchased from my normal hay supplier, who again is a client, I paid $75 a roll for that. So I got a pot full of money in hay. I don't think I'll need all this hay over the winter time. I'm hopeful that I've got about a third or more hay than I actually will need, particularly with the Elbon rye that I put in. But I'm actually being a prepper. I'm prepping for hard times, and I think things are just potentially going to get worse with diesel the way it is, and the farming situation going to totally rely on diesel. Price is way up. They're talking about short supplies. Who knows if any of that will transpire to the degree that it affects the farmers, but I've got enough put away that I can probably get by for well into the following year. Now, one question most of you would notice right off is I've stored this hay directly on the ground. This is a very sandy loam soil, and it drains well, and I didn't have the time nor the logs that Greg Judy talks about to store the hay up off the ground. Now, in a perfect world, I'd love to store this in a barn, but I'm not set up for that. And I'm going to get some waste. That bottom of that bale that's sitting on the ground definitely will waste. But the way I look at it is that's good fodder for the bacteria to grow, and we'll fertilize the soil as we unroll it and hopefully make a big difference in our fertility. And then last but not least, this hay was fertilized with chicken litter, so no purchased fertilizer, which is nice. I've had this hay tested, and it's running around 6 to 8% protein depending on the bale. And then the Johnson grass hay that I made at the clinic is running around 9% protein. So I'll probably cube them just a bit, particularly when it's really cold. But I'm really anxious to see what this Elbon rye is going to do for my grazing situation. I'm hoping to let this get about 8 to 10 inches high, and then I'm going to rotationally graze them through here. So while they're on the Elbon rye, I will not put out any hay, and hopefully it'll solve their protein requirements. But I think this is potentially going to be a really good thing for my program. First year I've done it, I'll update you as it grows and as I see what it can do for me in a rotational scheme. And we're gonna motor on. I'm a little bit faint of heart after the winter of 2021 when we got a lot of snow and super cold weather. And so I decided this year, when hay became available, I was going to go out on a limb and purchase what I thought I could and store it and have it for potentially a cold winter. They're talking about it being really cold again. I don't know if it will or not, but I don't think you can ever go wrong at least having some extra hay. So that's my plan. I wanted to share it with you. But again, I'm really excited about the Elbon rye. We're a month since I planted it. It's 2 to 3 inches tall in places, and it's starting to peek through the grass. And I think we're going to have a potentially good situation depending on rainfall. So just an update. Thank you so much for riding along with me, and I appreciate all the camaraderie, and thank you so much for watching this channel.